Just DJ's the only one player that I'm going to have here the rest of the time. When I pick these guys at the beginning of the year, I do it around their class schedules and all that. So that's why Brent and DJ were here, and then now with Brent not being able to play, DJ will just finish out the regular season by himself. So if you guys need anybody else, whatever, just go through AC and he'll get that set up for you. So again, we got Charlotte this week, and I'll talk about Marshall if you guys got any questions on that. But got Charlotte coming in this week, and I know I do it, and I'm pretty sure most coaches across America do it quite often, and you guys probably get quite often tired of hearing it, that it's about us. But I think more so this week than ever, it is about us, and it's about us improving and correcting the mistakes that we made last week. So Charlotte's a good football team. They're much improved from last year. They've got 4 wins, with 2 games left, and they're fighting to get their 6th win also. They're leading the conference in rushing offense, and, they're up there in ball security. I think they're +5 in the turnover margin, so they're doing a great job. Brad's done a phenomenal job with that program. A lot of respect for him. I've known him for a long time when we were coaching against each other in the ACC. So it's a really good football team. But, again, like I said, this is about us and us getting better. So I'll open it up to your questions.
Has been the problem. You said missed tackles after the Marshall game. Charlotte comes in with a very talented running back and a very skilled quarterback when it comes to the run. What can you guys improve in these next couple days of practice to help avoid a result like Marshall?
Well, at times against Marshall we did some good things. We just weren't, like I said after the game, we weren't consistent enough for 4 quarters. We've got to tackle better, and usually tackling comes down to fundamentals. You've got to be fundamentally sound and in great position when you make a tackle. We've got to play better assignment football. We've got to execute the call that's called. We've got to play that a little bit better. We've got to get more hats to the ball. I think that'll help us. And we've got to play with some confidence. We got to get some. We got to get some swagger. We got to get some juice back. We got to get some confidence because we're a little tentative, it looks like to me right now.
After the Marshall game, when Aldo asked for your evaluation on John's performance in his first start, you didn't have a lot of positives to say. With a couple days in past, I haven't got an opportunity to look at the game tape. Have you come away with some more positives with John's performance?
You got to play better. I said it going in. You got to protect the football, and talked to our team about it yesterday. We had 8 turnovers in the first 8 games. We've had 8 turnovers in the last 7 quarters, and you're not going to win many games doing that. But John's got to play better. He's got to protect the ball. That's where it starts. He's got to play better.
With Charlotte coming in, they also lead the conference in interceptions. What do you guys have to do offensively to take care of the ball in the passing game?
Throw it to the right guy, and I don't mean that in a smart aleck way. Go through your reads. Don't force the ball. If it's not there, live for another down. Throw it away. Play smarter with the football. And, interceptions, that's part of the game. It happens. But when we just can't force balls in there and think you're going to get something when nothing's there. So big thing is just doing what you're coached to do and play within the system and don't force things. Try to make a play when there's not a play there to be made.
Charlotte has improved drastically since last year. This just doesn't look like the same Charlotte team. What have you noticed about their improvements and what makes them so dangerous this year and 1 game away from becoming bowl eligible?
Well, one, I think they got 20-some fifth-year seniors, so they're a mature football team. You know, everybody probably, after we played them last year, I bet there's not one person around here that followed Charlotte because it was gone. Now all of a sudden you see Charlotte coming up. Charlotte had some good wins last year, and they had some really close losses last year. So, you know, we made some plays against them last year. You score 70 points, 73 points. You know, we had some big plays in the passing game, a bunch of big plays in the passing game. I think Darius Harris, returned an interception for a touchdown. You know, we had some big plays in that game. So I think people just look at that score from last year and think that they weren't any good, but they had a good team last year, and so they're older now. They're, like I said, 20-some fifth-year seniors or whatever it is. They're not turning the ball over, and when you do that, you got a chance to beat anybody.
Richie now has 6 straight games over 100 yards receiving. Kind of talk about this stretch for him and how he's been so successful and how he can keep it going this week against Charlotte.
He's a good player. He's dynamic in space, has the ability to make people miss, and he catches the ball. You know, he didn't have any drops Saturday, which was first time in a couple games, so he was very consistent. You know, and he makes plays. He's a good player. And, you know, as limited as we are, you know, at certain positions now, that we got to try to find ways to get the ball in his hands as much as we can.
You mentioned Charlotte's seniors. They have a really good one at nose tackle, and Larry Ogunjobi's got 11.5 tackles for loss on the year, 9 of those in just the last 5 games. What's your impressions of him as a player, and how do you neutralize his ability to disrupt? He's a good player. I think he just got selected to the Senior Bowl last week. I think I saw that or read that somewhere. I met him this summer at the media days. He's a really, really nice young man. He's a good football player. He's active. He plays hard. You know, we've got to do a better job up front of staying on our blocks than we did last week, and I think we'll do that this week. But he's a good player, and good players make plays. You know, you're not going to, you know, stop good players completely from being successful. But he's a good player. We got to be cognizant of him and aware of him and understand that how hard you have to play and strain your body to be able to stay on your blocks. And because if you don't, he's good enough that he can create a lot of havoc in there.
Coach, you've talked about before that players look to you immediately when something happens in a game, whether it's good, bad, and to know how to react. As you go through this week, wanting to gain more confidence back in your football team, how do you go about that from the neck up standpoint?
Well, you know, I told him yesterday what I thought good offenses do and what good defenses do, and showed him where we were at in those, in my opinion, of what those good offenses and defenses do. And it goes back to that's about us correcting those areas. But to me, nobody is going to feel sorry for you because you got beat. Who cares? Nobody cares about that. So if you're going to walk around here and hope somebody gives you a pity party, that's not going to happen. And I've never been that way. I tell you, you know, all the time, you know, I tell the players, our players respond to it, that you win, 24 hours to enjoy it. You lose, 24 hours to step on your lip and come back the next day and go to work. And that's the only way I know how to get better. And I'm going to always remain positive. I'm always going to coach these guys, point out their mistakes, be brutally honest with them about everything. It's what I believe in, and move on to Charlotte. We got a chance to we're just trying to do the best we can this week and get a win this week. That's all I'm worried about. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.